can begin. Hi, everyone. Hi, once again. Uh, I think all of us have met apart from Olmedo. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. How?
Yes, my name is Olmedo Zambrano, based in Ecuador, South America.
You're
I work with
welcome.
CBM. I am the regional advisor for community-based inclusive development. We work with persons with disabilities.
Great to meet you, Olmedo. So we can do a brief, quick introduction so we can all know each other. My name is Modoni Kangara. I work with the State Department for Social Protection in Kenya as a program officer. Yeah, over to you, Nema.
Thank you so much, Modoni. My name is Faith Neemangina, coming from Kenya, and I'm a fourth-year student. I'll be done by September, and I'm pursuing a degree in gender and sociology. And I have a connection when it comes to community development, because I want to change my community to be the best version that I want. So community development is like a call for me. So thank you so much, and looking forward for an interactive session. Thank you. We can go to Najis.
I'm expected to say something about the culture in Kenya.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Nargis. I'm a participant of Inclusive Practices of Georgia. And on this conference, tomorrow, I will present our experience in this field, in field of community development of young people. And that is why it's very interesting for me to know more about your experience in this field, to know more about young community development in the world. And so I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Najis. Let's go to Inessa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Inessa Misietskaya. I'm from Ureki, Georgia. I'm the colleague of Nargis, and I am the part of Inclusive Practices team. I'm very interested in this theme also. We also work with inclusion with disabled people. I'm also the mother of autistic child. I think today we will share our experience and we will have a great conversation. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Inessa. And then to our technical support, Philip.
Okay, how are you all? I'm happy to be here. Inessa, Nagiz, and Olmedo, how are you? I'm Philip Njogu. I'm one of the ICT personnel in the Ministry of Labor, and I'm here to support you, and also enjoying a lot learning about the various community development strategies and everything all about it. Thank you, and look forward for learning session.
Thank you so much, Philip. Now let's go to Olmedo, then Queen Dorothy.
We don't have any specific experience with the young people. I was very interested to know more about your ideas. As I said, we work with persons with disabilities, with all ages. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe, as I said, I want to know more about the work with young people in the community development.
Thank you so much. And I'm being hopeful that you will get to know more when it comes to youth. So let's get to hear from Dorothy, then Luisa.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dorothy. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be in this platform. Yeah, and thank you for the people who organized it. Yeah, it's my first time to be in such a conference. Yeah, currently I just finished my university level, so I think I'm the youngest here, and I'm honored to learn from you people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Queen Dorothy as well, and feel welcomed. And Lois, we are doing a bit of introduction, and just want to request you to just introduce yourself briefly before we start our session.
Hi everyone, my name's Louise and I am calling from the Scottish borders in Scotland. And my work involves working with young people who are marginalised.
Thank you so much everyone for the quick introduction. I now want to hand over to my co-host, Mudhoni. Back to you.
All right. Amazing. So we have a good mix of the young people, those in school, um, those who've just completed, and those who've been in practice for quite a long time. And yeah, like Louise was said, she works with young people. So it will be interesting to hear the different experiences so that we can all learn from each other. And earlier, one of the questions we were asking ourselves is what is the role of the youth in community development? Are the youth actually participating in community development? And one area that for me I have seen that many young people, many youth are not really engaged is on policy. Uh, for example, for us in Kenya, I work in the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, and I work for a department called the Department of Social Development. In school, I studied community development for my bachelor's, and I began volunteering from a very young age. And it's interesting, maybe I can just share my experience. I remember when I was about 10 years old, uh, there was something happening in a country, I can't remember which country, and I just saw it on TV. And I remember the UN Secretary General then, the late Kofi Annan, was giving a briefing on the interventions they were doing in that country. And from that day, as in something just sparked inside of me, and I knew I want to help people. This is the work that I want to do. So there is this common question that we are often asked that, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would always say I want to be the next UN Secretary General. that was my response. And so I began to volunteer from a very young age. So by the time I was getting to university, my dad really wanted me to do a law. And so we agreed that I was going to do a diploma in law. And if I don't like it, I can go and do whatever it is that I was interested in. And so I did the diploma in law, finished, and I told him, this is not what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And so I went to a different institution and I did community development. And I love it. I have loved it ever since. And I have worked in most of the most vulnerable community, and I have experienced poverty firsthand. And I can say this is one of the fields that people don't recognize as professional. That's one of the challenges. People view community development as something that you do because you probably don't have anything else to do, or you have a lot of resources, so you just want to give. And I think that's one of the challenges that I have seen over time, but I think it's changing. And so going back to what I was saying, that many of the young people are not really engaged when it comes to policy. For example, in our country, we had a discussion some time back with some university students, and about 90% of them had no idea of the current or the existing policies and bills on issues community development. So, and this is just maybe to encourage those who are either in school or those who are getting into community development. I think it's a very important even place to begin to understand what does community development in the context of your country really means, and what are the policies and bills and all these action plans that are in place, and how can you come in? Because I believe once we understand that, we begin to identify our roles in this in community development. So I think I have spoken too much, so I will pause at that first and give someone else to just share their experience. And yeah, thank you. We have a few more people who've joined, Mark, Stella, Langat. So feel free to share your community development experiences. And you could probably, as you speak, just tell us maybe who you are and where you're joining from. Thank you. Maybe I will be like a teacher. I just identify people to to go ahead and yeah. So Dorothy, sorry, Dorothy, you already introduced yourself. So maybe Stella, you can introduce yourself and tell us what you're doing. And then Nancy, followed by Langat.
Hello.
Hello, Stella, we can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Stella Ayuko. I'm joining from Nairobi. I'm an intern.
In community development field?
Yeah, I'm an intern in community development. I'm an intern at the children office. Though I
Right.
did community development and social work.
Nancy? If Nancy cannot hear us, then maybe someone else can share their experience. Inessa, can I put you on the spot?
Yes, of course. Matoni, thank you. With pleasure. I can share my experience working within community development with young people, with children. As I was saying that I'm the part of the inclusive practices team. We have the community of families, and also within our group, within our team, we have a community of children and teenagers. So Nargis is working within this team also. And speaking of youth, as we are on Youth Forum, I would like to start from my maybe from the past, because in my youth age, I had an experience in volunteer. And now I can compare the experience of working in volunteer field and the experience that we have now working within community development, because the main theme the main point of community development is the connectedness, the community as such. I mean that we can have different aspects, but the reason of communication, the reason of being together is connectedness as such. And that's why we have an opportunity to be to feel freedom of the content. I mean that we can choose different content, we can choose different forms and different forms of organizing the process, but it will be still a community, it will be still developing of the connectedness. And within our work with children, within our work with the children team, we are pointing this is the main point of the work, how to find the connectedness, how to feel each other, how to understand each other, how to feel the suffer of each other without any other thoughts and so on. So I think that we can work with youth, we can work with old people, we can work with children, we can be the team of practitioners, but the main thing that we can that we should develop and we must develop is our ability to feel each other, and this is our ability to learn how to find the connection in between. Maybe Nargis will add something to this experience.
I would like to continue your speech, Nessa. Thank you, Mutoni. Thank you so much. A few words about my story, about my way in community development. So my community development journey started thanks to my daughter. I'm a mother of a disabled child too, as Inessa. And when my daughter was diagnosed epilepsy and autistic spectrum, I understood that development of my child, it's not only what I can do by myself. I understood that my child need a society, need a community, that is the human ability to be a part of community, to aware herself a part of community. And our story started in Almaty in Kazakhstan. My daughter was a little girl, and Inessa's daughter was 3 years old. Yes.
Yes, she was 3.
Yes, and parents who wanted to grow up their children in tolerant society, they connected. They started a project in Almaty. It was an association of parents of disabled people, of disabled children. And then me, Inessa, and 15 families from Kazakhstan, we moved to Georgia, and now we are residents of inclusive community village, and we work with our children, we work with families with disabled children and teenagers, and we know that it's very organic, and it's normal for children and for teenagers to be a part of groups, to be a part of communities, and teenagers and children, they always try to be a part of some groups or communities. And our purpose of adults, to learn them how to be a part of community, how to build a community. And that is our work. So tomorrow we will share our experience. We will have a workshop, and me and my colleague from Kazakhstan, we will show our projects, and you will meet with our teenagers from Kazakhstan, from Almaty. Also we have a international project with Ukraine now, inclusive non-school online. Tomorrow they have a workshop too, and you will meet them, and Inessa will be there.
Yes, I think now I can share the information of these two workshops in our chat. So you can copy the link if you want to see
Join
our
us, yes.
experience and to join us on that sessions.
Thank you, Inessa and Nargis. And just before we hear from Louise and the work she's doing, I'd like to ask Faith, Queen, and Stella, and maybe Nancy, um, as the youngest people here and in community development, what do you think is your role in community development? And do you think those who've gone ahead of you have really given you the platform or the opportunities to participate in community development? Yeah, I'd like to hear from you. And Faith, you can lead, and yeah, and lead the rest as you. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Amudoni. And I want to start by giving a short story of my life. And to begin with, I grew up as an orphan. And to tell you, it was not easy. There's this particular time, because I was raised by relatives. There's this particular time I was taken to a children's office. In Kenya, there are those offices that deal with children issues. So I was around 13 years old of age. Yeah, so I was taken to such an office, and the officer that I met there was a lady. And instead of listening to my side view of my case, she threatened me that there are juvenile courts, and if I don't listen to my relatives, if I don't like, if I become like an exec to my relatives, I'd be taken to those courts. And at that particular time, I just sat down, and as a kid, I cried so much because there was no one to listen to me. There was no one I could share what I was going through. And to cut the long story short, from that time, I made up my mind to make a youth and a kids opinions to be heard. And at that particular time, I had no mentor, I had no one to empower me. I had even suicidal thoughts because of the threats that I was getting from my relatives. They will abandon me. I've even never like thought of becoming a street kid. But there's this particular time I was in high school in Form 2. I just went and sat down under a tree, and it was just a meeting about myself, and I asked myself, do you want your generation like to vanish like that because I'm the only kid? And I made a conclusion that I don't want my generation to just end, and I want my generation to continue. So, and at that particular time, I made a conclusion that I won't be having suicidal thoughts. I won't beg anyone to love me, but I will love myself. And that has really helped me, because I've I've joined many organizations to empower youth and girls, because I know there are so many girls and boys who are out there and are going through the same thing that I went through. So, and that's why I said earlier on that I want to be a change agent and to change my community to be the best version that I wish. I want to come up with the policies that address the issues of kids, and especially orphans and kids living with disability. And when it comes to community development, just looking forward to a time that I will set up my own farm to empower children, because I'm telling you, my team, that it was not easy, and kids are going through hell out there, and I'm living testimony. So this session will help us to come up with some of the roles that we can the youth have when it comes to participating in matters community development. So I just want to stop at this point and welcome Queen Dorothy to say something on matters youth and community development.
Thank you for the opportunity. One thing I believe is that youth play a very vital role in the community, because one, they have passion, they are strong, and again they are believed to have a future, a very bright future. And therefore, when now they engage after the resources have been used on them, now they can come back and give back to the society through inspiring. And again, the youth are also technological oriented. And therefore, they can use their technology in impacting the society. And by so doing, then they bring that change and bring from the society, from the analog perspective, and then to the digital. Making the youth, the community people, not to be left behind by the evolution system that is happening in the country. Yeah, so I believe that youth, they can be, if they can be strengthened once again through trainings and mentorships, because if I look in the country, in the society, others don't know majorly what is happening in the community by focusing majorly on the white collar jobs. But now, if they are oriented in their mind that this is what we are supposed to do, this is what is happening, knowing the culture, and because not many who know their culture, but they just hear rumors. But now, if they go to the first-hand information, then the youth, I think, the system, and that's why the country even is changing the system in the education, whereby people can even participate in their talents and showcase them. And this is very important, because they will grow knowing this is what the community desires, and they will develop it. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Quincy, for such an inspiring information. And now I want to give the opportunity to Nancy Muchemi. Nancy Muchemi, are you here with us?
You can't hear me?
Okay, please go on.
You can hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi too. Hi too.
Community development regarding to the youth. so far with them experience with the youth I've had, but I think it's they fear taking challenges or going an extra mile, and they want easy life, for which is not forthcoming.
Nancy, you're kind of breaking.
And then
let me get back
they
to you,
fear being engaged. I believe we have a lot of policies in
Nancy,
Kenya that
you're breaking.
Governs the youth or
Thank you so much.
Sorry, Nancy, we are losing you. We can't hear you.
Yeah.
I think my network has an issue. Yeah. Yes, let
But now
me.
we can hear you.
We can hear you. Maybe you can switch off your video, then you talk without your video.
As we wait for Nancy to do that, let's go to Stella Ayuko. Stella, please proceed. Okay, as Stella prepares to do that, let's give the chance to Almedo. Okay, so thank you so much. Let me give the chance to Liz.
Hi, everyone. Thanks very much for asking for my comment. Obviously, I'm not a young person, but I've been working with young people for over 25 years in Scotland and England. And I've just shared a link to a national organisation in Scotland that does lots of work that helps young people to have their voices heard at a national level. It's called the Scottish Youth Parliament. So that's a really good link to have a look at. The area that I work in is an area in Scotland called the Scottish Borders. It's a mix of rural and urban. And if you can see the picture behind me, it's a beautiful area for getting out of urban areas into beautiful countryside. And I use that picture a lot because a lot of the young people that I work with live in extreme poverty. They have very little opportunities. They may have generations of parents, grandparents, family carers not working. And so a lot of the work that I do is about supporting them and helping them to give them opportunities to move on. And over lockdown, we had lots of young people who were refusing, obviously, to leave home. But when lockdown ended, they were still struggling to leave. And one of the programs that I ran was helping young people to get in the outdoors. And the picture behind me is of a young boy with autism who didn't leave his home for over a year. And we did an outdoor learning program for them, and he discovered that on his doorstep, he had amazing countryside. So as a result of COVID, I've been using new ways of working and engaging young people and using outdoor learning and the outdoor as a space to help young people share issues that are of concern to them. In terms of policy making, there's lots of work going on in Scotland in terms of helping young people to get their voice heard. So at a local level where I work, we have, I'll send a link for it. We have a programme called Scottish Borders Youth Voice that helps young people to have a say, get involved in community decision making. And then at a national level, we've got the Scottish Youth Parliament. So we have young people from our area going along to that youth parliament. So I've just shared the link for that. So I think we're quite lucky in Scotland. And for those of you that were maybe hearing Claire speak earlier about the Children's Rights Parliament, the Children's Parliament, so they were also very active. They work with more younger children. The young people that I work with are older. Sorry, my phone's going. I just need to switch it off. Sorry about that. So what else can I tell you? I probably could speak forever about my work. I think what underpins me is helping young people to have a sense of respect for themselves and for their abilities. And we have various award programs that help young people to gain awards for things that they are interested in doing. So a lot of my work's primarily in schools, which I think are not very well equipped anymore for the current times that we work in. So a lot of my work is about helping young people to explore their interests and what they want to get out of life and supporting them on that journey. So a lot of one-to-one working group work. So it's a real mixture. And I think that's probably quite typical for a lot of work that community development workers do in Scotland, is working with young people that are most disadvantaged. That was a bit of a ramble.
That's okay, Louise. I just want to ask, and mostly for the younger ones that are joining community development, look, maybe you can tell us one challenge and how they can overcome. Because we heard from Nancy a bit, and she was saying that some of them are afraid to take challenges, others want an easy way out, others are afraid of being engaged. And so I'm just wondering, maybe what are some of the challenges you've experienced with engaging the young people, and how can they overcome, and even these issues that Nancy has raised?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the challenges is disengagement with education and not wanting to take part in education, because in my view, education is geared at young people who are already ready to learn, who may have come from a privileged background. Or so, for example, I've been doing some work recently with a young man who's in a care home because he was violent towards his family. He got put in a care home and was completely not attending school, not interested in anything. But on originally meeting this young person, I spent a lot of time just speaking to him and gaining a one-to-one kind of conversation that was on the same level and gaining his trust. But what I focused the discussion around was, what is he interested in? What does he want to get out of life? And I think young people know when you're interested in them, and they know when you want to help them. And I think it's about getting on an even keel or an even level with other young people and showing great interest in what they want to do. So this young person that I was telling you about, completely disengaged with school, but he had an amazing interest in Formula One, which I know nothing about, absolutely know nothing about it. But we're lucky in the Scottish Borders. We come from an area we're famous for a Formula One driver. And there's a museum just recently been developed to celebrate. The person was called Jim Clark. I knew nothing about any of this, but this young person and I went on a journey to explore his local museum, to find more about this person's life story. And he's now looking at volunteering in the museum and getting involved in social media promotion with the museum, because I went with what was he interested in. And I think that's, for me, is the kind of nugget that you need to, as a community worker, you need to kind of find out what is it, the journey that young person is going on, and what are they interested in doing. You alluded to going to study law, and you knew that was the wrong thing to do. And well done for you for coming back and going forward with community development. And it's about helping young people to make those decisions when other adults may be making it for them, but helping them to realise that they've got a right to determine a positive future for themselves and that they can achieve. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, wow, yeah, incredible advice right there. And maybe something that I would add is there are so many resources online, and I think you can even just walk into an organization, like, for example, that Department of Children's Services, to an NGO, and I believe the information is accessible. I think one gap that I have identified myself working with a few young people is that people do not want to take time to look for information and even actually do research, because there's a lot of information. And if the other thing is some of beginning, especially in community development, is mostly volunteer. You begin mostly volunteering, and many people, and I've experienced this even like at our workplace, you want to teach someone, but the fact that they are volunteering, they feel that uh, they can come in whenever they want. They're not being paid, so they do not value your time teaching them, just because they're not getting money in return. And sometimes it will be like that. Sometimes you will not get the money. So it requires also a lot of sacrifice, and just knowing what you want and going for it. Like I mentioned earlier, there are so many people who look at this at community development like it's not a profession per se. It's just looked at just any other course. Like you failed, you didn't get maybe an A, like in this case in Kenya. So you cannot go to medical school, you cannot be a lawyer, you cannot be an engineer. And so you go and do community, but that's not it. For most of the people I know who are in community development, it's passion. Like Faith said, it's for her, it's a calling. So there's a lot of giving yourself, giving your time, and sometimes it's exhausting, because especially when you're working with, for example, persons with disability, older persons, and sometimes it becomes difficult. So you have to, you have to be empathetic. You have to learn how to deal with people, how to communicate. There are a lot of dynamics when it comes to community development, and it's important that we understand. And even as you go into this field, just understanding which area do I want to venture into. Do I want to work with older persons? Do I want to work with persons with disability? Do I want to work with children? Because sometimes you cannot be everywhere. You need also to develop a niche for yourself. And also that helps you even as you grow, for example, in your career. And as we are told all the time that Rome was not built in a day. So you will not graduate today and tomorrow you're a community development expert. No, it does not work like that. So it requires also a lot of giving your time, a lot of hard work. Yeah, and a lot of research as well. Like any other field, you have to put in the work. Yeah. So anyone else wants to say something? I can see we have about 7 minutes to go. Anyone else wants to say something or questions?
Yeah, I have a question to Luis. Luis, please tell a little bit more about the programs which you work with young people. You said that you have a huge experience and it's very interesting. It's very actual for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have a programme in Scotland called the Youth Achievement Awards, and I deliver that programme. It's a fantastic scheme. If you Google Youth Achievement Awards Scotland, you'll find it. And that's a programme where young people take part in activities that they arrange and organise themselves. So I'm working with a young woman right now who wants to become a youth worker. And over the summer holidays, our summer starts, we're now in summer in Scotland. She's going to be volunteering with little small children. And during the summer, she'll be doing lots of activities, describing her experiences as a volunteer. She then creates a portfolio with all her learning. And over the space of the next year, she'll do more challenges. She'll do a total of 4 challenges. And at the end of it, she'll come out with what's called a Youth Achievement Award. That is a great qualification for going to university, for if you want to do community development or teaching or social work. So I do a lot of work helping young people to take part in the youth achievement programs. And when you were talking about volunteering, I do a lot of work with young people, supporting them as a volunteer. But I've always, throughout my career, have seen volunteering as the same as a job, and it needs to be treated like that. And if young people are not up to the mark, if they're not prepared to do the hours, I tell them, I give them maybe 2-3 chances and then they're out, because that's what happens in the world of work. So a lot of the experiences that I have with young people are about helping to prepare them for life after school, because in my view, they need that help. They need to be supported to take part in their society after work. And currently, I think they feel that they're just going to step out of school and go into a job. So a lot of my work is about getting them ready for that, getting them ready for leaving school, but treating them as adults as well. The outdoor learning programme I was talking about is called the John Muir Award, which is a great award that I wonder if we could do it internationally. That would be amazing. It involves young people going out and exploring their outdoors. It can be done in cities, in rural areas, and it's a series of activities that young people design themselves. So this group that I took out onto the hills, which were a 10-minute walk from their doorstep, they'd never been before. They'd never been out hill walking. And we took them out and they learned lots about nature. I'm not the one doing the nature talk. I bring in partners. So going back to that theme of connectivity, I bring in people who are experts in the outdoors to work with young people and help them learn about the amazing nature they've got on their doorstep. So I very much deliver programs that young people get awards at the end of and achievements. I also do a lot of one-to-one work and help work with young people so they can create their own learning plans and their own action plans, and help them to think about where they're at now and where they want to be in 5 years' time. And while I can hear what you're saying about community development being looked down upon, it is, but in our area, we're always looking for community workers. We've got a shortage in our area of qualified community workers. And it's kept me in a job for over 25 years, and I've worked in lots of different places. So that's how I sell it to young people. I started as a volunteer, and it's kept me going for a long time.
Wow, amazing. Great job there you're doing, Louise. I think we've all learned a lot from each other. Faith, you want to take us through
Maybe I
this
can ask
last?
Nagiz a question.
Oh, okay.
Nagiz, you have said in your country, you have a group where you deal with the parents with autistic children. Maybe what kind of support do you offer to the parents, and how do you maybe help the parents to manage their children with the autistic condition, especially when maybe they get to a certain age and maybe the children are big, and the parents are not able to control the children as they would have been while they're small. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your question, Philip. As I said, I'm a mother of a special child. I'm a mother of child with disability, with autism. And first of all, I would like to say that parents of disabled children should be ready for the hard work. And first of all, they should develop themselves. They should develop their awareness. They should click their attention to the development of the society in which they live, because autistic children, they have a special behavior, you know that. And our children, they need an empathic connectedness. They need to be in touch with his parents and with the people in their environment. And this environment should be ready for inclusion, because if environment doesn't ready for inclusion, it will be always a distress for child with autism. And in that kind of situation, parents, they have no chance to put under control behavior of their child, and there is no chance to understand and to make some connectedness and communicate into the family. So we always start our work with parents, not with children. And only if parents ready to change themselves, change their awareness, work, only in this situation we can help to the child, and we can involve children into the social programs and make a project with this family, with families and parents, of course. Thank you, Philip, for your question. It was very, very interesting.
Thank you, Nagiz. Oh, I asked that because I have an autistic cousin. He's a kid. He's about 10 years. So I normally learn from his behaviors, and I see how the mother is struggling, maybe to control, when maybe the behavior of the autistic children is not able to control every now and then. So that's why I was asking. Thank
I
you
know
for your
that
answer.
that behavior of autistic child, it's not his own problem. It's a problem of environment. It's a problem of social rules in environment where the child live. So that is why we should work with social rules. We should work in the community development area. Not we cannot stick all our attention to the one child and his behavior. There is no way.
Thank you a lot, Nagiz.
Over to you, Faith.
Thank you, Mudoni. And I want to appreciate everyone for your active participation. And I'm sure that we have a lot to take home. Yeah, so I just want to appreciate you for your cooperation and for the successful session that we've had. So thank you so much. And our session is over.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Liz. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Nagiz.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, Nancy.
Bye.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Stella. Thank you, everyone. Nice evening, afternoon. Yeah, from wherever.
Morning.
Yeah. All right. Bye.